Hey YouTube, it's just me, FLCL forever, or Chris to everyone that I know outside of YouTube. As you can see here, I've got my brand new N64, copy of one of my favorite PC games of all time, Star Wars Rogue Squadron, although I'm not too sure whether I like it on N64. Here's the system itself. It's not a light system, it's definitely got a weight to it because of this massive power brick. But other than that, it's just not much of a system if you remove the power brick. That's a later project, learning how to do that one-handed. So as you can see here, it's got 4 controller ports, which was a pretty big deal, seeing as not many systems supported 4 players without the use of a multi-tap. Pretty sure at the time one of the few ones that had it was the Atari 5200. I definitely know the PlayStation and Sega Saturn don't have one, as I have both of them now. So here's the cartridge slot. The cartridge is comparable in size to a Sega Genesis cartridge. It's not quite as wide as a Super Nintendo cartridge, not quite as tall as an NES cartridge. My one complaint with the N64 would definitely have to be its controller. Whereas the placement of the buttons and the feel in my hand definitely is comfortable. I feel the analog stick is much too inaccurate to be making tight turns, and its pressure sensitivity just doesn't really work for me. Especially when playing Rogue Squadron, which is one of my big things to do on PC. I would make really tight turns using the joystick. You just can't do that. Here on the back of the system, I don't know if you can see it so well, you've got your basic RCA composite video outputs, which go to my DVD recorder here as a pass-through. And you've got a really huge power brick. Not sure why they need such a big power brick. Seems a little unnecessary. But if you remove it, it's still a pretty heavy system for the size. Now let's look at some of my games. Here, as I've already mentioned, is Star Wars Rogue Squadron, which is a arcadey flight simulator, which is definitely one of my favorite games of all time. I played this game from about the time I was 4 to around the time Windows XP came out, because it no longer worked on Windows XP. So this is my main reason for buying an N64 was so I could play Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Here we've got Duke Nukem 64, which I actually haven't played yet due to the fact that I don't have a memory pack. But I'm working on that. I can't wait to play this one. I do like Duke Nukem. He's a great character. He's definitely got a lot of character to him. He's definitely one of the more fun shooter characters out there. He's a total badass, by the way. Here we've got GoldenEye 007, which is pretty much the base of all of the 4-player deathmatch shooters, and it took advantage of the N64's 4 players, and it made console shooters a little more reliable than they were. It made people actually start using their N64s for shooters and not just other weird oddity games that Nintendo put out. Here we have Quake 2, which is essentially the same game you have on PlayStation, only less music, less levels, and native 4-player support due to the N64's 4-playerness. I haven't played this one very much because it also requires the memory pack, because it has one of those autosave functions and whatnot. Here we have Perfect Dark. I'm not one way or another about the mission and campaign mode in this game. I find it rather annoying. But the co-op is nice, and the deathmatch is very solid and very enjoyable. Here we have Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, which is unfortunately a rather disappointing game. The opening level is pretty sweet though, and it's definitely worth playing at least once. Borrowed from a friend. I wouldn't really recommend buying it due to the fact that it relies on the N64's pressure sensitive analog stick, and that just doesn't really click for me. It's also kind of slow and clunky and awkward. I did borrow 2 games from my buddy, the Elusive Pirate. I know him as Alex outside of YouTube. I borrowed the classic Super Mario 64. This needs no explaining. And I also borrowed Banjo-Kazooie, which also needs no explaining. I plan on getting a lot of use out of my N64, and I plan on spending many a day playing Rogue Squadron and GoldenEye with my buddies. Hopefully we'll be able to conjure up 2 other controllers to play some of those shooters with. I'm definitely looking forward to getting a long life out of my N64. Probably not going to use it as much as I use, my PS2 down there and my Sega Saturn, but hell, I love my N64, even though I've only had it for 2.5 days or so. Well, this is it. I'm going to bed now. I will see you guys whenever I make another video. Greatest game I've ever played, though, definitely. Just for the nostalgia value that it has to me. Good night.